We're going to dive deeper into this Pacific Division and see who will come out with a real storybook year next year. Want to begin, again, as you have your outlook for us, with who had the most impressive offseason?
Well, you know, it's always harder to tell before the season starts, but I really like that Edmonton didn't sit back and say, hey, listen, we're pretty good. We're going to go out and we're going to make a lot of changes and we're going to get better. And we're going to get better offensively. And holy smokes, I mean, they already had the two best offensive players and maybe a top 5 offensive winger in the league.
Sure.
And if Evander Kane ever gets healthy and gets to the point where he's back to where he was even 2 years ago, like, I mean, you add Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson, two players that, I mean, when Victor Arvidsson was in Nashville, he's like a dog on a bone, and he works very Hyman-like. And Jeff Skinner just scores. And, I mean, you're putting these guys maybe with Leon Draisaitl. I mean, they had to have you consider as good a season or good as off season as anybody else. And, I mean, it just made them stronger. You look at the players they lost. I mean, and I think that's not a that they can afford to lose those guys. But they picked up two players that are going to make them every building they go into, they're going to go, oh my God, we got to think defense against this team because this team's coming at us.
Yeah, and rolling out multiple lines with that, just adding that depth right to it for that Edmonton club. On the flip side, which team do you think, you know what, they've got some more work to do?
Well, you know what, I hate to admit it, but I keep waiting for the Anaheim Ducks to start to do something big to get out of the, like, it's been 3 or 4 years now where they've just been hovering around the basement and not making the playoffs. And like, I mean, they added Brian Dumoulin and Robbie Fabry, and that's great. But I want to see them make a move to be that team in Southern California again that everybody comes out to see, where because when they packed their buildings and they were fortunate to be really good in the early 2010, 11, 12, 13, and right up to 15, and the fans were great. But I just think they got to do more. I know they want their young kids to come up, but I think they got to surround them with good players that are veterans, because their minor league team ended up in last place too. So I mean, it's not like they have an awful lot of guys depth coming up from there, and so I would like to have seen them do more to be more competitive. They'll be competitive in October and November, but come December, it'll be tough for me to watch them play. I think.
You want to see them be competitive when it counts. And you talk about a team that's been competitive. That's the Vegas Golden Knights, and they've been contending year after year since they've come into the league. But you feel like they also haven't done enough.
You know what? Until I went into a deep dive and started to try to think on how Kelly McCrimmon and George McPhee were trying to think. I think they did a lot of their offseason, and you won't see it here, but a lot of their offseason signings were done at the trade deadline last year. Okay, when they go and they get Hertl and Hanifin, and if you look at it, those are off-season acquisitions that aren't really on there because they signed them to long-term deals right away. And so, I mean, you add them, because if you look at it just on paper, they lost 8 players that, I mean, are NHL guys, and 6 of them played on the Stanley Cup team, I think, just 2 years ago. So, I mean, I'm going, oh, man, they're rebuilding on the spot. But, I mean, and on paper, it doesn't, when you just look at them, it doesn't look like they did a lot. But when you do a deep dive, they're going to be, if they can stay healthy, that's the biggest thing with Vegas every year. If they can stay healthy, from the goaltender to Mark Stone to Jack Eichel, if they can, even Hertl's has got a tendency to get hurt. If they can stay healthy, they will be a really dangerous team and makes the Pacific Division all that much tougher.
Okay, so maybe not as much concern with that team about the work they needed to do, but health really is what they'll need to do.
If I looked at it,
stay healthy.
If I looked at it and didn't look at Hertl and didn't look at Hanifin, I'd say, and they lose all that many players, I'd go, uh-oh, what's going on? But those are two big pieces.
It's a great point by you. Let's talk about the team now that could surprise us this season. Who do you got?
Who did I have?
The Sharks.
Yeah.
There you go.
I know I had it, but we're talking. And I said,
got a lot of notes here.
I said the Sharks, and the reason is they signed. You know, if Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini are any kind of the players that we believe that they are. And I think you add the Tyler Toffoli's, Alex Wenberg's, Barclay Goodrow, Jake Wallman, and now they got some NHL players to go in there. I think it's going to be a lot different than it was than last year, the year before. They're not going to start off 0-12. And I think they're going to make it difficult for a lot of teams. And they're going to look at the signings, and they're going to come in and they're going to say, boys, that was embarrassing last year. We want to get to the full house in San Jose again. Because when that team was good,
yeah,
that place was a rockin', and it was a tough place to play in. And I think they're not going to be in last place this year. I think they're going to surprise some teams, and I think they're going to be an awful lot tougher team to play against.
Yeah, the Shark Tank and the fans there looking to see #1 overall pick Macklin Celebrini as well. Hopefully, I'm assuming out there as a Shark this season. We're going to finish in this division with the team that you expect to be the best team in the division.
Well, I expect Edmonton to be the best team. Okay. They're not going to start out 2-9-1. Look, at Vancouver had a tremendous year, and I mean they went out and they moved 6 free agents for 6 free agents. But if you look at this team and they start out even 5-5 at the start of the year, they're going to win the division. And they've just got the 2 best players in the world. Probably in McDavid and Draisaitl, or at least 2 of the top 5. And I mean, when you have that, if Hyman can repeat anywhere close to his 56-goal season, and you throw in Skinner with 40, Arvidsson with 25, boy, I can't see a team beating them, especially knowing how they started out last year. And, you know, an interesting story is, and I said it last night, was a friend of mine had his son playing summer hockey, and they were playing in a summer league. And who were they playing against that night was Draisaitl and McDavid. Wow. And so, I mean, I'm sitting there going, what are they doing on the ice in July playing summer hockey? These guys are just built to play hockey, and they want to do it all the time. So I can't see Edmonton starting out the way they did, but I can see them finishing off the way they did.